it's kind of like when you're running out of time and you only get 21 hands a level. You almost gotta. It's kind of like Sam taking really high variance, marginal decisions. You know, even in a situation where he's trying to play kind of small pot poker. Just tell me if I'm sounding like an idiot. I don't know what I just said.
You're saying Sam is making some high variance decisions?
No, I mean that deciding to raise there, he was like, well, I should probably fold, like you were saying, but instead he.
Maybe it's a little bit high variance. That's not that high variance. Like if he were to shove, it'd be fairly high variance. Here he's slow playing.
And slow playing is fairly high variance here, right? Or just so standard?
I think it's pretty standard. I mean, Ace is just such a monster right now. And then Matt's almost always going to c-bet just as he did.
Now that you've turned your 2 aces into 3, and it's really hard to imagine getting on by fast playing these, you just have to call, right?
Yeah.
And just hope that maybe you can get some kind of bet in on the river or something.
Yeah, be looking for Matt to run some kind of bluff.
He's got 3 aces.
Check.
He's got 3 aces. That feels pretty good. From Franklin's point of view, though, what is Trickett's range here, besides the 3 aces, which is sort of a very narrow part of it?
Trickett can have like 8x, King X. I suppose what Franklin is thinking, he's thinking Trickett calls, he shoves his aces to a min raise.
He really should too, shouldn't he? I mean, it would be really odd for Sam to have ace anything right now.
Yeah.
You know, he might not even slow play ace king. In fact, he probably wouldn't. And if Trickett does call here, does he check the river? Is that part of the whole plan?
Yeah, he's checking the river, that's for sure. He's just trying to give Franklin some rope so that he'll shove the river as a bluff. I guess this is just going to call as well.
He's got a good awareness, Sam Trickett, because this is the only way he's getting on. He seems to know overall it's the best. And how often are you shoving if you're Franklin here?
Well, I'd be pretty concerned when Sam calls a turn. I'd have to decide whether he's calling light with kings or aces. The fact that there's a backdoor flush draw makes the shove a bit better because now Sam can fold some backdoor flush draws. I mean, it would just be mostly a matter of how often do I think he's turning up with, like, King X he folds river with.
In your experience, does, you know, at this stage, is Sam going to fold the king? If he's called this far with a king 10 type hand, is he folding?
Not necessarily, but a lot of players I think will end up folding if they get there with King X.
Cool.
He's got him. He went for it. Look at that.
Yeah.
And you know, Franklin knows. I mean, you know, this can happen. I mean, you just can never expect a guy to show up with like the things. Obviously, you know, he's very smart about poker because of his results. But when he was talking about what was going on in the big game and his thoughts on certain hands, except for the absolute brain squiggle he had against Phil Locke in that big pot, he's so smart about poker.
You're always chasing me with these threes.
Point out Sam Chartier just final tabled the Irish Open last week. I was there myself. He finished in 6th or 7th place. Went into that final table pretty sure, but he played well, picked his spots. Couldn't really get anything going, but he never had that many chips.
You kids are much better. I'm just
Well, I saw seen Andy Black here in the final table that as well. A bunch of people came over, but those who have played the Irish Open before, it's not an easy tournament final table. You have to go through a lot.
I actually flew over here with Sam just a couple of days ago directly from
You just go
Dublin.
within every hand.
And was he in good form in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, he came into that table short. In fact, I think he was the shortest, if not the second shortest stack. So he finished in like 6th or so, and after it was hard for him to make anything happen.
Today it's even more sick.
So this pot opened by Torelli and 3-bet by Duhamel. And, you know, I know Duhamel's ahead, but it's really the same hand, isn't it? So it's really going to be a question of who takes the lead here for you.
John has the lead right now, but there's a lot of flops where they both miss, and anyone who bets will take it down. This is, however, not one of them.
It's not the same hand at all.
This is a flop where they can get all of their money in right now. Top 2 versus top pair in a nut flush draw. They both have absolute monster hands. Hummel happens to be way ahead here only because Alex, both ace and 6 is no good here. So that's pretty unlucky, and he's only drawing to the flush.
Yeah, well, in a sense, Torelli's unlucky because in no way can he believe that he's a 2-to-1 underdog in this pot. But
this could be a really big pot depending on what Torelli does here, whether he decides to call here or if he decides to raise. That'll dictate what could be the biggest pot we've had so far.
And just think this through with me if you're Torelli. If you do raise there, you know, do you never get action except from a bigger ace, perhaps? So is that why he's chosen to call, or is he just being deceptive?
Then you also build a pot for when you hit your 10 of spades in the turn there. But I mean, it's really lucky for Duhamel that Torelli decided to just flat, and John will put Torelli on a lot of flush draws here. He could potentially check this back here, and then reevaluate in the river depending on what Alec does. I hope that John can check back here and then call Torelli's bet on the river, because it puts him in a bad spot if he bets here and then Torelli check raises him.
Yeah, but I mean, really, Torelli's range is a lot more than flush draws.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
he has
like
aces. He has aces here all the time, like the ace jacks and ace queens. Also ace tens. 4 flushes. But his range usually going to be a big ace here or now a made flush.
Being that Torelli has the ace of spades, you know, he must be thinking that Duhamel
is bluffing.
Right. I mean, what has he got?
Right.
What does he value betting
so
here?
that's why we might see a call. A call
and a check on the river as well?
Definitely possible.
Call.
Yep.
He has gone for the call. This pot's really big, and
I wonder if Alec checks it again, if John is going to bet for value. If it's a non-spade, I think John will bet for value. He probably puts Alec on a hand like ace-jack or ace-queen with maybe a spade along with it at this point.
Check.
I think John is going to put in another bet here. There's no reason for John to think that he doesn't have the best hand.
And this is why Torelli's checking. Torelli's checking because in his mind, Duhamel has to be bluffing such a high percentage.
He's not checking because he thinks John has aces up here. He's checking because he thinks John has nothing and needs to bluff to win it.
Call. You look at a lover.
And John is going to bet for value, and he's going to be very surprised when he's check raised here.
Well, Duhamel's only got just over a pot. You know, he's got 26 back, Duhamel. Torelli's got more.
Yeah, so if John makes any sizable bet here, he's committing his stack.
Right, he almost...
And Torelli's definitely going to move all in.
I think that's about 14 or 15. I mean, it looks like...
Yeah, John basically bet half of his stack.
I promise you.
All in.
And now Alec moves all in, and this would be really tough for John to get away from here, because he's just committed so much. Yeah, he just doesn't even think about it and calls.
Easy money.
They'll have to count these down, but it looks like Duhamel has been broken in this pot by Alec Torelli. What a cooler. I mean, what a complete and utter cooler. Duhamel knows it.
I think the only way he could have prevented that is if he checked back one of the streets. He could have checked back the turn and then just called on the river. But it was really Alec played the hand really sneaky, and I totally understand why John would think his ace is up.
And it's really a good idea with Juan sitting in the big blind.
Tony G's got the kings again.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
Kings.
yeah, somebody's going to slip up. Somebody is bound to slip up.
Yeah, I don't see anybody slipping up here. Nobody has anything. And this is going to be very frustrating for Tony G. Well, I take it back. Patrick, we've seen him make some moves with ace-4s already. That's one of the hands he likes to play.
kind of history do Patrick and Tony G have, I wonder? Obviously, they were in different groups in this Premier League, but they certainly go back a few years in the top tier gambling.
I would guess they haven't had a lot of history. They might have played on a high-stakes cash game once or so, but Patrick is going to make the call. And Tony G finally getting some action on the Kings. Let's see if he wants it.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Ace, ace, four. A full house for Patrick Antonius.
Mike, this is going to get ugly. I do believe that these cards are going to get shown. And I think that Zasco, who now rests on the top of Tony G's chips, might find himself out in the dog pound.
Well, let's go and check again on the turn. How can he check kings twice here? Now the 3 of clubs comes off. Patrick has to make a bet here at this pot, doesn't he? Man's checked twice in a row. He's checking again.
Checked again? Oh, no! Tony G's taking the bait!
Bet 40.
He took the bait!
Well, he took the bait, and now he's going to be so angry
Oh,
because
he's hooked.
he's not going to see the hand. Obviously,
I don't know.
unbelievable that Patrick checked the 3rd time there, knowing how quick Tony G was checking behind him.
Mike, I mean, this could be the end of Tony. How big is Patrick going to raise right now?
When he raises, Tony's going out, I promise you. And Tony's going to be kicking himself for betting here. He checked it twice. He just couldn't stand it a 3rd time. Well, look at all the time.
Right now, there's a quiet on the table. There's a calm, and it's only the calm before the storm.
Raise.
Well, look at this. Tony's shaking his
170.
head. He knows he's been had.
What a slippery play by Patrick, and just outstanding. I'm trapped, Tony says. I know I'm trapped.
Yeah. Look at the size of the raise, too. 140,000. 130,000. This is just like a frustration call here.
Call.
That's a bad call by Tony, I think. Patrick's just not going to make a play here in that spot without an ace in that spot at a minimum.
Kings. Hold on. That's the patience.
Oh, he hates that. That could have been his Premier League.
I got king.
Checked, checked, checked. And the flop just hated him, Mike.
Incredible. What a dealer this guy is.
How could you play the hand any better? Checking 3 times in a row. Finally, Tony takes the bait and fell right in the well.
He was drawing dead on the floor.
Yeah, we don't know who opened the pot here.
Oh, sorry.
She must have 3-bet to 2,700.
Yeah. There we go. Kristen raised it to 1,200. Lauren 3-bet it to 3,700. And John cold called the.
2 4s.
He limped and then.
Oh,
cold
look,
called.
a 4 on the flop.
And a king.
Oh, poor Lauren.
Poor Lauren.
This is going to be very tough luck for Lauren here. She picked up 2 aces and got no action. Now she's got top pair after 3-betting it for the flop. And John hopped the fence for the 3,700. Flopped a set.
He gave a big sigh as he called there.
Yeah. If she was paying attention, she could read that as a tell. When people give those kind of sighs, usually they got a big hand.
That might save her.
No. She's going to go all in here. No.
Well, she's only got 25K left. Yeah, she is going to get all her chips in at some point.
There's 29K in the pot already.
She hates that card so much. She's trying not to put them in, but she's going to have to anyway.
Yeah. Well, you got to hate that card.
Ooh. More theatrics from John.
Boy, oh boy. He is going for the Oscar, folks. But, you know, with a possible flush draw out there, this is the way he's going to make the most money, by checking on the turn here. Now she probably thinks she's got the best hand here with 2 kings and a queen kicker. Yeah, she should bet about 7,000 here and then throw it away if he moves in. Put a little blocker bet out there.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
Come on, man.
Call.
Yeah. What do you have?
Yeah.
A set of 4s. Oh.
That was a good check on the turn
Nice
by
one.
John. You got to give him credit.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is just tough luck.
Ah.
You 3-bet, you flop top pair like that, you run into a small set.
What time is it? We have half an hour left?
To play the game, to win one. You're always working, mate.
Ah.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah, and this flats. 2 very strong hands heads up. Ace, king, 4. There's checks. Expect Alex to check back. Do you think he'll bet here? He's going to bet.
I think he'll bet 13. Oh,
You can't
there we
say it
go.
once
Look
you've
at
seen it, Ludo. Come
that.
on.
What's wrong with that?
Come on. Everyone knows you're a genius already.
Okay.
You don't have to fudge it.
Just a call. Turn card. 10 of diamonds would have been nice. I fully expect us to go check, check.
Does check through.
Oi, oi.
Oh, wow.
That's what you call the nuts.
70 million chips in the pot.
Almost checked it.
Interesting check here, Ludo. I guess he has quite a lot of 10x. Right, he can check all his gut shots on the flop. Makes a pair. So you're going to want to check the nuts to protect that, and also, you know, you are going to list some bluffs here, aren't you?
This one here is interesting because he's trying to get like a king to fold, but that doesn't make much sense. So like he's tried to get some sort of flush draw or straight draw that got there with a 10 to fold.
Right, there's some, yeah, a lot of 10x here.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. Or maybe he thinks it's like a merge where he gets him to call with some sort of 4. I don't know, I'm saying like it's quite interesting. I think I like to just check the pocket 8s here. You've still got some showdown and you've not really got a good hand to bluff with.
Yeah, obviously you have a diamond, which isn't blocked some of those missed draws as well. Yeah, this is. I think I would just be checking this back, Ludo. Just
Yeah, you still beat like a 4, and also like let's say that he has 4-5 or something, he can maybe turn that into a bluff.
Right, yeah.
Or let's say he has like 10 jack or like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he's got
I'm
a
saying
hand,
like he could maybe turn
10
that
jack
into a
or
bluff.
queen 10, now he could bluff with these hands.
No, I'm not too sure because that might. I'm not sure. They might have a bit too much showdown value as well. Because why wouldn't he just bet an ace again on the turn? So like,
yeah,
a king here's in a good position. So like, he's not really betting 46 million to get a king to fold.
No, and
This
and
is an easy call with a
king
king.
might well have led as well. The river himself, right? Of course, does move it all in.
Now, obviously, like this isn't a good hand to call with because you're blocking like 8-10 of diamonds, all these type of hands.
Right.
That you want him to. Obviously, you don't want him to have because he beats you with a pair of 10s. But
Yeah.
the way the hand's played, it's pretty messy. It's a messy hand heads up here. Like the way this hand's went, you don't get to see hands like this that often. So it's like hard to like kind of commentate and be quite precise in certain departments because.
Right. Obviously, the value hands he reps are
Yeah,
what,
it's just
basically queen jack.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Well, Foxy's obviously thinking
And
about it
deuce
here.
5, I suppose, as well.
He must be thinking he might have 4-5 that he's turning into a bluff.
Or as you say, 10 jack.
Jack,
queen 10 maybe.
Jack 4 of diamonds, Queen 4 of diamonds.
Right.
Like something that doesn't need to bluff the river because
Or
it's
queen,
got showdown.
Queen 3 jack 3 of diamonds as well.
Yeah.
So
So, like, okay, so we've got, like, we could say, like, he's got showdown with, like, Jack 4 of diamonds, Jack 3 of diamonds, Queen 3 of diamonds, Queen 4 of diamonds, and then maybe you can put in some, like, 3-5 suited hands, like 4-5.
Right, and if the only hand that check raises all in for value, or the only hands that do it, what, set of 4s, set of 4s and Queen Jack, are there other hands?
But the thing about this as well that Alex will be thinking, I'm pretty sure he's going to throw it away, but I'm saying, like, the only thing he's going to be thinking about this situation is when I bet so much into the river, 46 into 70, and he shoves all in, he's basically only repping Queen Jack.
Yeah.
So how many combos of Queen Jack is there?
Right, there's not many compared to the combos of all
so
these.
that's what I'm saying. So if you start throwing in like the Jack 4 of diamonds, Jack 3 of diamonds, the Queen 3 of diamonds, the 4-5, all the type of hands, there's more combos of those than there is of the Jack Queen. So that's maybe where he's getting himself leveled in his head.
I suppose there's not. Well, he has called, Ludo. He
has
has
called.
And
that is
the nuts
insane.
Gets tabled, and that's it.
That's insane. But I'm saying that's obviously what he was expecting if he was beat.
Wow.
Was the hand Queen Jack.
Wow, and just like that.